believe started 1-2 at this tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
My
and
goodness.
has run the table 10-2-1 to make it to this final match of Swiss up against one of the final bosses that we see at almost all of these events. Alex Szymanski always in the running, and he's running that Tera box deck. How do you feel about this?
I mean, Tera box, we saw it in the beginning of the day yesterday, right? His friend and teammate Joshua Frink showed that the deck is very powerful, but also the humongous HP that these Mega Pokemon are having doesn't seem to be quite achievable because of those Bravery Charms, because of those lively stadiums. However, in this matchup in particular, Dragapult at 320 is in range of Lily's Clefairy, is in range of the Gravity Mountain plus Pikachu EX combination, and the early game there's a lot of small, low HP Pokemon that can be taken out by the Wellspring Ogerpon.
This should be a lot of fun. Let's see what our prizes look like. Blood Moon at the top, that won't be relevant. Few energies to go along with this, and one copy of Hoot Hoot. On the other side, a Cloak and a Dusclops, one Luminous Energy of the likely 7. A couple of those supporter cards.
Those Professor Energy are
0405.
0405,
Lance
wow.
Bradshaw was not around in 0405.
Yeah.
maybe he was just born.
Yeah, so Alex really with the fancy looking energies. As you mentioned, Kyle, not too much impactful prize. I mean, everything that you prize is impactful, but with extra copies, the energies on Alex's side could come into play, but he has the Sparkling Crystal to compensate for any lack of the right energy.
Okay, well, we're sparkling on this side of the table. Alex Szymanski has the drip. Ultra Ball throwing away a lot more, and he's going to get things started here. See some Hoot Hoots moving. You know what that means. Van Rotem.
Van Rotem, Wellspring Ogerpon immediately threatening to bench. We see no Shaman. Oh, no, we actually do see Shaman on Lance's side of the field. I mean, well, not yet, but it is in the deck list. So if Lance is able to find that Shaman on the first turn, he has Ultra Balls, he has a copy of Nest Ball. There isn't any Artisan really, so finding it is not easy. And I think part of the reason why we haven't seen a lot of Shaman, despite the resurgence of Wellspring Ogerpon, is because of that pesky 80 HP. Having more HP is actually a detriment because you cannot use Body Puffin for that Shaman.
Yeah, so often that is the card you want to use. Get things rolling. We do see some energies flying through over on this side of the board now. And for Alex, he's got a pretty solid setup, but he's in for some bad news. If Lance has a nice setup, he can protect against these energy placements on the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon. Really make it just a Torrential Pump 3 for 100. That's not where you want to be.
We see a Dreepy off the top for Lance, and he does have the Ultra Ball available right now, so he could immediately shut down this pressure from Torrential Pump if he chooses to go for it. He's considering what to Ultra Ball for. I am sure we are going to see the Shaman here.
Yes, it's very helpful in this matchup specifically. I know we've talked a lot about Psyduck and its placement in protecting against some matchups. We don't see that here this time around on Alex's side. It's a spot where you don't get punished for playing the Duskull, Dusclops, Dusknoir. And Lance actually taking advantage of that bench placement with the Shaman now.
Shaman about to hit the field. It's being brought to the forefront of the deck. Wow, hesitating a little bit. Does have a Lily to follow this up, so you have plenty of Body Puffins, you have plenty of other stuff. I feel like in this spot, if you whiff on the Itchy Pollen item block, you're completely fine, because shutting down Torrential Pump means Alex will not be able to get to prize cards next turn. There's no way to like canceling Cologne on that Shaman. That's no longer an option for a while now. So we see the attachment, we see the Lilies, and now we could see Itchy Pollen, we could see the Flower Curtain protection. Alex already in a lot of trouble, despite there only being one turn played so far.
And look at this from Lance as well, the Psychic Energy. Sometimes we see players leaning over on the Latios, using that as a way to switch this Pokemon, but so important to see that turn 1 item lock. Wants to take 0 chances trying to find that Latios, would rather lose the energy attachment for turn. Looks like will be rewarded just fine with a nice big setup.
Puffin for a couple extra Dreepies, I'm sure. And his hand was not looking too great, but he did find a follow-up Lilies to this. So we're certainly going to see the retreat into the Itchy Pollen just further limit whatever Alex can potentially do. And I mean, do you commit your, because the water energy is priced, do you commit your Sparkling Crystal and another attachment to deal 100 damage to a body, or do you 2-hit KO the body with Sob? It feels like a lose-lose for Alex.
Oh, yes, it's a really rough place to be, and for Alex as well, it's those 2 energies in the prize card. Every one of those resources can be so precious, and it's a really tough decision to make. If you have access to Crispin, maybe you can switch over to a different plan. We've seen players lean on something like that Flareon and trying to get the ball rolling, but that's just a lot to ask of your deck right now. Maybe it is just take a KO when you see it.
I think the biggest deal here for Alex is that he chose to discard the boss off of the Ultra Ball, right? Which I think is an indication that he didn't know of the Shaman over on Lance's side. If he knew, probably keeps that boss. And sure, this turn you still commit to what he's doing, but you play the boss and knock out the Shaman. Especially now that Lance discarded an Ice Stretcher with his own Ultra Ball, making recovering the Shaman a lot harder, and therefore if your opponent's not playing Rare Candy, now you threaten with a Torrential Pump for 2 prizes a turn afterwards.
Alex will take that into considerations for future games, but this time around has to work on his feet and work quickly. Does have an interesting card in hand with that Iron Bundle if you ever wanted to move that Pokemon and tack into maybe a more considerable target on the other side of the table, but we'll hold on to that resource for another turn.
2C3P up top, we see an Ultra Ball for Lance. Could grab something like a Dracloak to start establishing his board. That Shaman just providing so much protection at this point in time. Now, because of Lily, a lot of these Dragapult players are playing less Night Stretchers, right? They have less discard, less harsh discards off of Professor's Research and whatnot, so they are cutting down on the Night Stretchers. 1 is down. I think this is why usually you would see like the Blood Moon getting discarded quite quickly, but because 1 Night Stretcher is prized and 1 has already been played, if you discard the Blood Moon, for example, then you no longer have access to it until the very end of the game with your 1 Night Stretcher. So I think Lance being very conservative, very accurate with his discard pile, and just switching gears here by not going too aggressive.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider here from Lance as we now see this Lily's determination to refill the hand. There's a recon directive to go along with this, but a double-edged sword with the Shaman as the bench spaces start to get rough. You'd like to have a Latias to free retreat and move this Dreepy, but you can't swap into a Badoo. There's no place for this Pokemon here anymore, so you lose another energy attachment potentially, or you give up on that item lock strategy. Pablo, what do you feel comfortable going with here now?
I think it's fine to not go this hard into the Badoo. Like, what item are you really limiting at this point? Ultra Ball, perhaps, to stop another Noctowl. And what is Noctowl accomplishing? I mean, maybe getting a Crispin to power up the Mew, which you'll probably want to target anyways if it has any energy, with a counter catch or Boss's Order. So I think the item log definitely doesn't have any sort of priority. I think getting an energy down onto a Dracloak, opening or easing off the pressure and finding your 1 copy of Neo Upper Energy or a Hilda in order to search for it, and wow.
That's a tempting card. The Jamming Tower is seen there. I mean, for Alex, it's still a pretty sizable hand, but with that water energy in the prize cards, you just don't have access to a relevant attack anymore if you can shut off this Crystal for more than a turn.
Now, it seems like Lance is going to favor that Badoo, so really trying to slow any sort of Noctowl pressure, searching for a boss to deal with a Shaman, or I mean, if you end up attaching an energy somewhere and it gets pressured with the boss, then you're back to square 1, but no item lock. So Itchy Pollen, it's all about the Itchy Pollen this weekend. We see the counter catcher to make it harder for Alex to deal with the Badoo. We also see the Jamming Tower, so Wellspring can only sob right now.
Well, Alex on cue moved the Gravity Mountain over to the top of his hand as I was talking about Jamming Tower. I might want to check that headset, buddy, but he's got the answer. The problem that he does have, however, is this Noctowl is stuck, and you don't have too many great answers right now. It's you're losing out on energies, attacking into this Badoo. It seems like everything Lance wants you to do.
We're going to see that Gravity Mountain hit the board. I think a simple attach, retreat, KO is going to be the play. Now, because of that 10 damage onto the Wellspring, though, it is in range of the Phantom Dive. So if Lance has a Hilda or just has the Neo Upper Energy, could still prove very problematic. And I guess we're committing the energy somewhere else as we search for that Balloon.
Yes, as the Jamming Tower is now stopped, you have that opportunity. There is the Professor Turos, which seems like a similar answer, but if you don't go with the Boss's Orders in this spot, then you go that route instead. What do you think you should go with here, Pablo? You could go Air Balloon, Boss's Orders, take a nicer, cleaner KO on Dracloak, or you like the Turo here?
I like the Turo. It lets you get 2 Hoot next turn to make it a little bit harder for your opponent to take both of them down, giving you access to Noctowl. Of course, there's still the threat of Counter Catcher, Boss's Orders, and that Cursed Blast because there is no Damp Psyduck to stop that. However, we're going to go for the Crispin. Are these energies getting put onto the Noctowl? Are we getting an energy attachment onto a Mew? This is definitely a deviation here.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Hawlucha is a card. There is one Hoot. There is a Gravity Mountain in play. There's nothing. There's no future Noctowl afterwards if this Pokemon were to be KO'd. This is a really dangerous spot here.
Very dangerous. I think Alex just really worried about that 1 damage counter on the Wellspring. And yeah, I guess we're going to Speed Wing for the knockout, Kyle.
All right. Well, sometimes you Torrential Pump and don't discard. Sometimes you Speed Wing. These are what you do to make it to round 14 and try to stay in the game. Lance loves to see this, however. He's given up 2 easy prize cards. Is building up a nice big hand now. Still looking for the Neo, but I think we saw that Hilda.
Yeah, there's a Hilda in hand. We are guaranteed the search for Neo Upper and the Dragapult. So I think you want to get the most impactful knockout that you can at this point. And I think the Hawlucha is also already in the hand, and if not, there's an Ultra Ball to go search for it.
So, it's in hand. Yep. Yeah, it's going to fly off the top rope, and it's going to be a dangerous spot here for Alex. Did not cash in on that chance, and now Hoot is in a lot of trouble. Lance in for some great news. He knows his prize cards. He's going to get a reminder here. He's got everything he needs.
No need to give up a prize card with Curse Blast to take down this Hoot. We're just going to see that flying press, I have to imagine. Now, does have an Ultra Ball left over as well. Could establish the Dusclops, yet go for the Hawlucha, or quite simply give himself extra draw with the Fez. But it will be the Dusclops this time around.
Yeah, seems nice to get that Pokemon into play. Maybe have Dusknoir for a future turn. Just cleans up on some of these Pokemon that might be slightly out of range. That surprise Eevee evolution that comes down at times. And here is the press. 60 hit points remaining on each of these Pokemon. You see how the math lines up beautifully. Goodbye, Hoot. We'll see you later.
Yeah, if you have double Hoot on the bench, I mean, Alex had enough energy to just take the KO with Fanrotom and gives himself a chance to have access to Noctowl this turn, right? And now, sure, he has another Crispin. He has a Nest Ball. I think he top-decked one of those because he searched for Crispin and Tera, right? So he might have top-decked the Crispin at this point. He can respond with Clefairy, which is very impactful.
That's a beautiful response. Not much else to consider at this point in time. You see the energy is ready to go. It's how many energies are left in the deck is the only thing that's got me a little nervous.
Yeah, it could be. Oh my gosh, there's no energy. There's no energy. The 2 energies prized and the energies that got utilized for Noctowl and the 2 energies that are stuck here.
Hello?
Yeah, there's no energy left in the deck. We have 2 in hand, 2 in discard, 2 in prizes, 2 on the board. Pretty even distribution of the energies at this point in time. We have to rely on the 1 Super to get us there.
Fez for Rod. This is where you have to go at this point. There's just nothing else to do. Alex throws his hands and says, we just got to hope. I mean, the Rod's already gone. Where do you go from here?
Oh my goodness, yeah. You can't, yeah. I mean, and you needed a follow-up Nest Ball as well. I guess Energy Switch is the way you could maybe go about this, right? Which is where you would really like a backup Hoot to be able to Jewel Seeker for the cards you need.
Unbelievable. We see the Iron Bundle. The Dragapult is not being handled this turn. Neo Upper Energy lives to fight another day. Cloak brought into the active spot. Wow. Big sigh of relief for Lance now.
Interesting to go into the Dracloak instead of the Hawlucha. I have to wonder why that is. I mean, what value does Hawlucha offer?
Rotom for a free prize card on a struggling turn. Maybe that's the only thing you consider there. Just a couple extra hit points.
Yeah, possibly. See a body Puffin fail by Alex. And sure, he's going to be able to take a knockout this turn, be ahead in the prize cards, but this will just give Lance counter-catcher possibilities. And there is a Mew in play. So there is a world where Lance could go Dusknoir, put 130 damage onto the Mew, and take a 4-prize turn right now.
We see that there's a Turo used, and it did not pick up Mew. It picked up the Fanrotom. Wanted to give up that single prize option for Lance, but Lance might not be eyeing that. He could just have the answer. Yeah. He is well, not even a retreat. This is a knockout, unless it's Sob stalling. Nope, he's a Dusknoir away.
Dusknoir plus counter-catcher wins the game.
It's in the discard pile. It was discarded earlier on. Night Stretcher is there, found off of the prize cards. He's got it all. This evolution,
there you go.
Curse Blast, Mew is gone, and we see a 4-prize turn for Lance Bradshaw.
Don't even need the counter-catcher. Boss's Order is pretty decisive. A win. That Crispin top deck for Alex did nothing, really. And yeah, Lance wins game 1. We do have an update from the field, right, Kyle?
Tord Reklev did win his match in a pretty quick fashion, it looks like. Aban Ahmed also winning versus Ryuki Okada. Carson Washer taking down Callie White. So these are just a few of our names that will be joining the likes of Jackson Ford, Xander Perot, Rowan Stavenow, and Luke Smith in the asymmetric top cut. Looks like we could have a few great players added on top of this, and Lance Bradshaw looking to make sure his name is also included.
Yeah, both of these players could join everyone you just mentioned into that top cut. Wonder what adaptations we will see from Alex. That Turo versus Crispin decision was tough, though.
Yeah, it was really detrimental, losing out on that Hoot. Attacking with the Noctowl. I understand that sometimes you need to get creative to take those KOs, but it just seems like he's fighting from behind too often, and his resource management just was unfortunate to see how awkward it had to be.
All right, we're going to get this game 2 started. Alex does get to go first once again by his choice. I think he top-decked an Eevee into a very awful hand filled with a lot of evolutions. Triple Noctowl in hand, but no Fanrotom or Nest Ball or Ultra Ball to go with it.
That's unbelievable. Just nothing to work with here. Leans into the boosted evolution of Eevee, throws the hit points in the active spot, and is going to hold on. Missing out on Fanrotom is rough, but is this hand much better? There's a ton of basic Pokemon.
Yeah, no supporter either. I think Alex is just hoping for an Iono from Lance, but Lance doesn't even have anything at all to work with. He's going to have a very full bench. 2 Ionos prized.
You gotta be kidding me. For Lance, this is pretty rough too. The Latias are moving around these Pokemon. No more one of those 2 copies of Night Stretchers, the boss's orders. For Alex, he'd love to see that Lily's Determination, even a Crispin to get the ball rolling and attack on, but this is going to be a pretty goofy Game 2 setup.
Yeah, both players with very awkward setups. Both players essentially in top deck mode, which is never where you want to be at if you are a Pokemon player, really. Lance has the energy available, chooses to play it down, and will go for the Itchy Pollen. Kind of wish we were holding on to that energy just for a little bit. It's very susceptible now, and you know you're not doing much until you top deck something, right? So a little vulnerable. Oh,
Nest Ball is found into the Itchy Pollen. There's not even an energy to work with this. And Lance is zooming through. He has nothing to do. Neither does Alex. We are moving at lightning speed here. Nest Ball is found. You don't need that. We're back to Itchy Pollen. Alex sees not an energy. It's a boss's orders.
Onto the Dust Gloves, forcing the prize card or giving himself a chance at item cards and playing down that Hoot. What are we seeing? We never see turns this fast, Kyle.
Oh, this is wild to think about. But yes, here is a prize card for Alex. He is rewarded with a Pokemon. No, a boss's orders. Boss's orders gives him bosses. And he misses out on that Lily Sclafairy in a pretty important matchup for now, at least. Is there another energy? There is, but it's not the right one.
Not the right energy. There's a boss onto the Dreepy.
Get back here.
Yep. Can we see a Nest Ball for Latias against an Iono
no.
on the top?
That's the only one you don't want.
And you're down 2 in the prize cards too, so the chance of drawing an Iono are way lower than drawing a Lily's Determination off the top.
No.
I don't think you play it. I think you just keep on with the Itchy Pollen here.
There's nothing to worry about in this spot. The only issue you have now is Dreepy is in the active, but if you can move this Pokemon, Itchy Pollen seems like a pretty solid line.
Apparently, Lance told Alex, all right, I got an Iono for us, so the friendship Iono.
Wow. Oh, restoring everybody's faith in humanity as we've solved 7 turns fly like nothing.
Right, Lance playing even super conservatively, just going for the Shaman, right? When there's no Wellspring, no Hoot, no access to it. I think this is another
this
choice.
Is
wow.
Unbelievable.
3
what
Lilies.
Is that?
3 Lilies and an Iono. There's all the supporters, Kyle.
Okay, well, you found Wonder Cloak. Can it turn into 2? There were a few discards. Oh, it's just the Duskull line.
We're going to miss on the item lock because we didn't go. Oh, the Latias is prized. Never mind.
Oh, there's a Night Stretcher. There's not an energy, though. It's just the Duskull. There is a missed item lock. Alex, rewarded with Iono, sees fire energy. Oh, funny enough, he doesn't have any items he wants to play now.
Found the fire, though. Found the Hoot. Doesn't have Noctowl anymore. They're all at the bottom, right? But he'll be able to attack now. He'll be able to get the Wellspring powered up if he wants to. Could just go for the Pikachu.
There's definitely a game of Pokemon happening at this point, and he's got the Teras. He's protecting himself with 1 active, 1 benched. He's got an answer if things get a little wild, but Hoot needs to restore our faith. This is a troublesome place to be.
2 cards off the top, another Nest Ball to establish second Hoot, I have to imagine, right?
Yeah.
There we go. So now Alex's board is looking a lot better, and Lance didn't get too much help off the first Iono, but he will have Lilies to follow this up, and could potentially finally go into the Dragapult since we do have the Dracloak with the Neopra available.
Well, now with the Burning Charge of Flareon, we see the KO there on the Dreepy and some energies that likely are going to make their way over to the Wellspring Ogerpon. It never seems great for you when you see Shaman, but this was the Pokemon he targeted down. Just wants that basic answer to taking out Dracloaks, I suppose.
Yeah, that Mew with 1 energy is such a big threat, though, right? And he just got Lily's Clefairy off the prize cards and has Energy Switch in hand. So if Lance commits to a Dragapult, Alex could have the immediate response. And that's great for Alex, right? But a big difference from the previous game is the fact that Lance now has an extra energy down, right? If Alex responds to a Neopra, Dragapult, gets the KO, and there's no energy in play, then there's no way Lance responds other than with Blood Mercy Luna. But now, because there's that extra energy, Lance can have back-to-back Dragapults to keep disrupting Alex's board and keep up with the KOs.
Yeah, the prize exchanging seems like it would go in Lance's favor at that point then. After you lose the Badoo, your opponent's down to 3 prize cards remaining. Hopefully you chain that into drawing the Ionos out of the prize cards. The Cloak has the Neo. Where is the Dragapult if you're trying to go quick?
I think we found an Ultra Ball. One play we do have is to potentially go Hawlucha, 1 damage counter here, 1 damage counter here, and get a 3 prize turn, knocking out a lot of the Pokemon that Alex can use to recover from a low card Iono. The question is, do you go for it? Because that Mew is looking very scary.
With the damage that we see on the Mew, if there ever were to be a Dusknoir as well, you can see the prizes starting to add up on that side.
Don't think we found either Dragapult or Hawlucha, so we're just going to have to Ultra Ball for 1, and it will be the Dragapult. Not taking a KO also means Serendipity doesn't activate, and that's also a pretty good thing to consider and play around. But those double Hoods are looking very scary, Kyle.
Yeah, it's a rough place to be. See, your opponent was struggling, but now, instead, up 2 prize cards. You see 5 energy on board in a deck that plays energy switch. The cards can start to shift around. Lily's Clefairy can surprise you out of nowhere. And this is something you just have to continue to play into as Dragapult. You have one true weakness in Lily's Clefairy, but you have to take that chance.
We have the counter catcher. Do we want to target something else, or are we just happy hitting into the Flareon? There's not a really big threat to our Dragapult itself. Tenor Drippy get played down.
This does play around your opponent having the Lily's Clefairy if you leave the bench spaces closed off.
Yeah, attacking into the Fez or attacking into Flareon means there's no extra bench space and force your opponent to have the area 0, right, for the Clefairy. Now, we do know Alex's hand is not ideal. I don't think he has access to a Noctowl just yet.
Wow. Completely avoiding the Hoots in this spot. Wants to take the 3 prize cards of these EX Pokemon. And what do we see here? It's Noctowl to get things rolling. This Turo might be better than the last one we saw.
Noctowl off the top, energy switch in hand. We could see the Fez completely recovered and Lily's Clefairy take a knockout, or Mew take a knockout actually, and potentially take out the Duskull as well.
Yes, it's getting to a very dangerous point in this game. Serendipity completely saved, 200 damage taken off of the board here. And Alex, he can really pretty much do whatever he wants at this point. The Hoot is protected, the damage wasn't placed there either. So much to consider now.
There's the area 0, there's the Fez, there's the Lily's Clefairy, there's the energy switch. Now we're even going to see a restart for 3.
Another Hoot would be phenomenal, but let's not press our luck. Pretty solid turn here with the Noctowl. Gets the job done. Copying now with the genome hacking, taking that great attack and leaning into the Badoo.
Yeah, taking out the Badoo instead of the Duskull. Doesn't want to deal with item lock shenanigans, slowing him down whatsoever. Now the Duskull can evolve and protect from a future Phantom Dive, but I guess Alex is just not counting on being able to copy Phantom Dive ever again.
Maybe item lock would be a little troublesome given there's already 6 energies on the board and use your Turo. You just don't want to sit here and watch a game go to time in this instance. If you're down a game, you have 24 minutes remaining. You have to close out here with prize cards.
No Iono found 4 lands off the Recon Directive, so there's not going to be any sort of disruption.
There are none.
No, yeah.
There's got nothing else that the Ionos are waiting in the prize cards for him that he just cannot find.
The way he spread the damage means Mew is not in range of Phantom Dive damage counters, and therefore he has to attack into the active, making it like a very ineffective use of the 200 damage. And 6 damage counters doesn't KO anything because we didn't place any damage onto that Hoot previously.
Yeah, it was a big risk, but it could have had a big reward to go along with it. The Noctowl saved the day. So now he will put a little damage onto that Hoot. But 2 prize cards, neither of them, which being Iono, are pretty brutal.
Right, lots of energy in hand and in play here for Alex. We're going to draw 1 with Teal Dance. We're going to draw 3 more. There's Super Rod. I think we have Crispin in hand, which means Lily's Clefairy is live and will be able to Full Moon Rondo, KO Dragapult, and send us to a game 3, Kyle.
Oh, he's got it all. It's so nice to see here. Crispin closes it out, and we have 22 minutes remaining before we get into this game 3. Both players showing us what their deck can't do, which is just draw fast for so many turns. Sure enough, that Iono changed everything.
Alex, I'm pretty sure he saw his hand with triple Noctowl and Mew, and he was ready to give up at that point. Top deck the EV, retreated, evolved immediately thanks to a boosted evolution, and passed. Under item lock, I mean, Lance had 1 Dracloak established before the Iono, right? So I don't know if that Iono was a little preemptive. It's like with the information that you have, you can probably take it a little bit slower. But let's take a look at everything that happened in this game.
Yeah, we had plenty of turns, but these were the impactful ones. This boss's orders brought up the Dusclops, which gave up that first prize, which really unfolded everything here for Alex. He found another boss, slowed things down a little bit further, and it led to these energies exploding onto the board. Noctowls found off the top deck, and you just have too much going for you at this point. Lance tried to fight back 6-1 prizes. He'd had a lot of work ahead of him, but no need. Super Rod, Crispin is going to get the job done.
And it felt like Lance's game to lose after his opponent had such a mediocre start. He had a mediocre start as well, but he had a full bench full of everything that he could hope for, right? It was just a matter of time, whereas Alex needed to find Hoots and bench them without playing items. But eventually, that Iono proved to be detrimental for Lance. So we have game 3 starting our way. Now, Alex chose to go second. No, sorry. Wait, who? Lance chose to go first?
I guess. I don't know. That's a Hawlucha, and that's a pass.
Yeah.
And that's a transformative start ditto in the active. Yeah, Alex is absolutely rolling right now. There's energy, there's Crispin. This is looking pretty nice.
It seems like Alex's prize cards this time around are a little bit kinder. We do have a boss's orders, but everything else we have extra copies of. And if you're going to prize any energy, you're happy for it to be the grass energy, which you have multiple copies of. Everything else is a one-off. Whereas over on Lance's side, he has not only a Dracloak prize, but also 2 copies of Lilith.
Wow, I'm pretty speechless to the start of going first in this instance. You just walk into the first KO. All of the pressure is now placed over on you to keep the ball rolling. The transformative start into the fan rotom with a stadium is a KO on this Hawlucha.
Do we have the stadium, Kyle?
We'll have to find out. I'd have to assume with this active fan rotom, there's something rolling here.
We're seeing a turn 1 Crispin, so we're going to get energy down on the rotom. Perhaps even sob the Hawlucha could be a decent strategy. That means you're not getting item lock next turn as well. All right, 2 energy off the Crispin. Fire to the active. Yeah, we're going to see the sob. That means no Itchy Pollen next turn to see the attachment of the water. And there we go. Sob. That Hawlucha is stuck in the active. We see Shaman off the top.
You gotta be kidding me.
And Iono over Lily being chosen here.
That's surprising too, as your opponent's off to a fairly solid start. You pretty much already saw all the bad news of the Hoot Hoots, and you have to expect that they'll have a little bit of an answer, but giving them a new hand when you could see 8 cards with that struggling board is surprising.
Yeah, you're taking away 1 Noctowl guaranteed, sure, but you know your opponent has at least 2 more, probably 3. And because you're sobbed into the active, you will not be able to Itchy Pollen away the Ultra Balls, for example. So, yeah, I think 8 cards here, especially Iono is like very good in the later stages of the game. Now you have 1 less. We'll have to see how Lance plays this out and if it ends up working out for him.
Well, it did reward him with a Buddy Poffin to throw a few more Pokemon onto the bench. Has that Duskull and Dreepy now added. Where do you go from here? The energy to retreat this Hawlucha, well, you can't because you're stuck with the Sob. You're not getting the Itchy Pollen. Just likely spreading energies onto Dreepies and trying to build up some semblance of a board, but doesn't feel great. All the initiatives forced back over to Alex now. It is just a pass.
Yeah, Lance does have a pretty strong follow-up to this. Now, Alex, does he choose to keep attacking with Sob, buy himself time to have an even stronger board, or does he just start applying pressure with Torrential Pump?
Well, now with the Noctowl found, there's a little more to look forward to. Area 0 under depths being targeted. Fill up with a nice full board here. Sometimes we do see this on the other side, as if Lance does find his Dragapult, he'll have his Tera Pokemon in play and get to surprise us with a few extra Pokemon on the bench, which would be nice in a deck that has cards like Shaman.
All right, there's a Latias for more mobility. Maybe we now go into the Fenrotom for the knockout. We burn the Buddy Puffin, and then we go Lily, 8 fresh new cards, and a world of options for Alex here.
Yeah, as far as everything else you want to see from this board, just leaving that last bench space open. You could see Mew EX if you want the Lily's Clefairy. You usually hold on to, as you don't want to reveal that card, but making yourself a little more Iono-proof as the prize cards start to fall would be ideal.
Now we do have some updates from the field. It seems like a ban has defeated Ryuki, marking his 3rd straight back-to-back top 8 cuts. We also have Tord winning over RJ Squires, so he will be in that asymmetrical top cut. And then Carson Washer beating Cali White.
Yeah, a lot of big names added to our asymmetric cut here now. And with this prize card, Alex trying to get 1 step closer. Sees the Night Stretcher. And now Lance needs to make something happen. We see the defensive counter catcher, the research losing some resources, and this hand is going nowhere fast, but Ultra Ball is found.
No Dracloak. I mean, there is an Ultra Ball, but it's going to be a costly one on top of the discard that research just offered. We can Itchy Pollen finally here try to buy a little bit of time. Energy gets discarded as well. This Recon Directive basically needs to find another Dracloak, or we're in a lot of trouble here.
Yes, chaining these Pokemon would be ideal here. Seen so many cards that aren't Dracloak. Badoo is one of those now added to the board. The retreat isn't as bad having the Neo upper energy in hand, but you have to expect that a double Dracloak is the only way you stick around in this point. 1 boss's orders clears you out. Oh, and he does find it.
Goodness, immediate grab off the Recon Directive at 3rd. He doesn't even look at the other card. Wow.
There's no other card that we need to see.
And finds a Lily off the 3rd Recon Directive. This could not have worked out any better for Lance. I mean, now he's going to be 2 prizes down, sure, as long as Alex has an energy to attach and retreat. But committing the Neo Op is an interesting choice. If Alex has energy But actually, that's not enough to take a KO on the Dracloak.
Yeah, it may just be safe at this point with how the energies are placed.
Yeah.
It would have to be, what, a sparkling crystal, and even then you can't get this. Well, you can. Yeah, you can't move this Pokemon. The Noctowl's evolution. This is.
You would need Herballoon, right? Herballoon could do it.
Yeah.
But I don't see it in hand, and there's no Noctowl in hand either. So Lance will definitely have a big sigh of relief here with the Crispin getting played. That means no bosses orders and Shaman. Shaman, such a key component in this match. If Shaman was not in Lance's deck, I would say Alex would be in prime position to just completely take over this game.
Yeah, the Wellspring would just be taking over with the Torrential Pump, just knocking out Pokemon left and right, and don't see that this time around. Instead, few energies, grass to the Noctowl to move this Pokemon, but may just be a simple answer of Fan Rotom, KO on Badoo, and move on.
Yeah, I think that's what we're about to see. I like the energy on the Mew, preemptively preparing for that Clefairy Phantom Dive copy knockout that we saw in the previous game. Alex now going to take the Assault Landing, get himself ahead, and his board's looking pretty good, but there is a world where Lance could KO both Hoots at the same time and make it awkward for Alex to find all the pieces that he needs.
Yeah, just one of those Pokemon with 70 hit points is enough to slow things down. 10 damage from a Hawlucha. If you bring that Pokemon back, a Dusclops would be pretty costly, but could help you out as well. We do see Lilies, we do see Counter Catcher. There's still a lot to be found here.
Yeah, Counter Catcher is great. We have exhausted one of the others that we do run, a total of 3. Now, could take down the Mew immediately this turn. We are missing the Dragapult itself, though.
Okay, well, after identifying how many cards are in hand, Lance wants to dig a little further before Lilies. Wants to see that Iono, I suppose, now, and can he find it? No.
Oh, Iono. Could Nest Ball for Pheasantipity. That could be an extra 3 cards. Does keep that Nest Ball. We're going to see the Ultra Ball. I have to imagine this is establishing the Dragapult, right? Of course, you would maybe want the Dusclops. You would maybe want the Hawlucha to take down both of the Hoots. But if you get the Hawlucha, place the damage down, and then you miss the Dragapult, that feels really, really bad.
It'd have to be the Night Stretcher to help out the way that the cards have flown this game, but Lily's Determination could help find some more cards. And the Counter Catcher onto the Mew, a great call here. You can remove a little bit more of that Psychic Presence that could be turned Fairy with the Lily's Clefairy.
So Lily's Determination has been played. That means Alex gets to keep his huge hand, which does contain a Nest Ball, does contain a Night Stretcher. The big card missing could be the Noctowl, though. I'm not sure if I saw that available.
Yeah, we didn't see Noctowl played previously, and now we see all the Iono for Lance. He's taking a big risk by promoting this Dragapult, but seems like a solid time to do so. You have Night Stretcher to take out the Hawlucha. You would only cash in on one Hoot, and at that point, maybe you just don't go for it.
Yeah. Knocking out both, pretty impactful. Knocking out one, pretty mediocre. So keep the resource. You don't know if you're going to need to Night Stretcher back the Dragapult, Night Stretcher back any of the Dusknoir pieces, or we can just go ahead and do it and do completely what we were thinking of not doing.
Maybe this is a 10 damage to Hoot with 70, 10 to the Fan Rotom. Still take the KO, but have that 10 damage on a Pokemon that you could work into another big KO later on.
I mean, Lance did find another Counter Catcher. Maybe there's a world where he goes after both anyways and changes his play. Oh, maybe he didn't find it. Never mind. He could have sworn I saw it in his hand. So yeah, just 3 price turn, not too shabby.
Yeah, big knockout there. Alex did not have his hand disrupted. Has for your treat. Plenty of energy in play and has a pretty easy answer lined up with Lily's Clefairy. However, we don't see the energy switching or the Crispin just yet.
See the Nest Ball to start us off. There's the Lily's Clefairy, so we are most likely going to knock out this Dragapult, but we might need a little help from Flip the Script.
Yeah, plenty of cards in the hand. Psychic energy there as well, so even if it weren't to be Crispin, that energy switch would do just fine in this spot. Plenty of cards that could help out in here. Anything that leads to Noctowl gets the job done. There's even a wacky world where Counter Stadium could help out. You could move that Noctowl, then Night Stretcher back onto Hoot.
Big 3 cards here from Flip the Script, though. Alex just deciding whether he wants to play the other Nest Ball to thin an extra resource, whether he needs to keep it available. Yeah, there we see the Nest Ball getting played, just maximizing your chances. 1 extra card from the deck. Doesn't seem like it's too impactful, but every card you take out of your deck slightly increases your chances of finding the right card at the right time, which in this case is either Ultra Ball or Noctowl or a single energy switch.
It's a game-breaking turn here. You need to pull out all the stops, every percentage point, lean it over, flip the script, finds Ultra Ball. That is Noctowl.
Double Ultra Ball events. Like, you know, you need this? Sure. Here's 2 just in case.
And with the way the prize map unfolds here, Alex will go down to 2 prize cards remaining. Holding onto that other Ultra Ball doesn't seem like the worst idea if you need to find that last Pokemon to help out. But with this bench, the way that it's played out, it's pretty much locked in on this board.
Yep, that Gravity Mountain will let you shuffle things up a little bit. I mean, I guess you get rid of all 3 single prize Pokemon. Just make it so your opponent, despite being at 3 prizes, has to deal with 2 of your 2 prize Pokemon.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be difficult, but with the Dusclops there, Dusknoir opens up a few different avenues to find some help. Do you see the Gravity Mountain, single prize Pokemon, to the discard pile now? Luis Clefairy has the KO lined up on the Dragapult, even with all of those Pokemon being moved. The Rondo is just way too strong at this point. And
I mean, yeah, even the Dragapult has less HP just because of the Gravity Mountain, right? It's now sitting at 290. Lilith will do more than enough, but it's all on Lance's side. All he needs is a Dusknoir, a Dragapult, an Energy, and a Ghosting Effect, and he will be able to take a 4-prize turn, knocking out both of these Pokemon. So can he find all the pieces? There's Dusknoir in the discard pile and a Night Stretcher utilized last turn. There's only 2 copies of Night Stretcher. Can he get everything he needs, Kyle?
I don't see the cards just yet. He's going to look for the help on this hand initially.
The boss is one of the pieces.
He's the wrong energy if he wants to attack with the Dragapult, though.
Luminous is no help because the 2 Luminous energies would cancel each other out.
Pablo, do you ever shift gears? You've got Blood Moon Ursaluna, you've got Luminous, you've got Iono. You could attack with this Pokemon, take a KO, and look at this board. It's not pretty.
There's nothing really to deal with that. There's the wow Counter Catcher found now. I mean, Counter Catcher, Iono, it's only 3 cards, not great. Counter Catcher Lily is a big ask. Like, you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to find what you need. Does keep the Counter Catcher though. Is it Counter Catcher KO Fez with the Iono maybe? Then Full Moon Rondo doesn't do enough to KO the Blood Moon, but then you have a problem yourself of getting the Blood Moon out of play, picking it up, it can't attack again. To remove energy and give your opponent the 3 extra cards off the knockout.
We've not seen Sparkling Crystal this game. That may be a consideration here after the Jammy Tower 2, Air Balloon, those type of cards, but it is Blood Moon Ursaluna time. Luminous energy ready to roll. You have to expect Iono. Is this also where you throw in Dusclops? I mean, you could put your opponent on 1 card. It's, where do you go here?
Well, we've committed the energy. No Iono, so we're going to keep the Fez in play, and we are going to take away the attacker, which I don't mind doing that for sure. See 3 cards, and one of them is the Professor Turo and another energy, so we can get back-to-back attacks with the Blood Moon Ursaluna. So if Alex doesn't find game next turn, which I don't think there's a way, he needs to promote the Pikachu, but then...
He found the crystal and he's Jammy Towered.
Oh my gosh.
It's just a few of those attacks you potentially could lean into now are gone. Earthen Vessel to look for some energy, but this board does not have a Mew. It is a lone Fez to build up this hand. Where do you go from here?
Oh my goodness.
The energy typing to E-switch onto a Pikachu, I don't see that on board just yet.
We need Suprot and Crispin to maybe have a chance with the Pikachu, I guess. Did we already play
Sparkling
Suprot?
Crystal into different stadium. There's a lot that needs to happen here.
No help off the top from Pheasantipity. We have an energy. We can still Teal Dance once again. Okay, we're committing to the Pikachu bit. So, I mean, I think Alex is going to play to the fact that Lance needs Turo plus energy in order to win. Coincidentally, Lance drew Turo plus energy off of Iono.
Pretty good cards to have in hand, and for Alex, he just does not have ways to disrupt the hand on the other side. So focused on his own build and everything that he can do. He's going to trust in that Resolute Heart, it looks like, and hold on. Just wants that one other energy.
There's the Sob. That's going to be the game for Lance with the cards that he has in his hand.
That's wild.
My goodness. You can see Lance shaking, just eager to play the cards. It's Turo energy.
Yes, he's got it all there. It feels weird, but you can Turo the active Pokemon, bring this up, promote the Dusclops, pop for KO, and then bring the Blood Moon back up into the active spot. He's going to search out a little bit with the Ultra Ball.
I don't think he sees it. He's grabbing Latias off the Ultra Ball.
He's going to be a little safer with it and give himself retreat. Didn't need to do all that.
Yeah, there's a Turo. Alex now takes a prize card, rebenches, and attacks, and there we go. Lance Bradshaw wins round 14 and goes up to 34 match points.
Wow. I mean, there's so many ways to close out in the game Pokemon, but it is so interesting to see what you have to do to give yourself those little extra percentage points. Alex tried to hold on with the Sob, but it was not enough. You have to think that with that hand size,